staple and comfort food icon. The bean has played an essential role in the survival of people and animals since ancient times. Archaeologists have unearthed evidence that Old World legumes, lentils, peas, broad beans, chickpeas, and soybeans were used as food for more than 10,000 years in Eastern Asia. Caches of lentils have been found in Egyptian tombs, signifying the reverence paid to this plant. Why are legumes so popular? Legumes, members of the bean or Fabaceae plant family, have many significant attributes. Beans are high in iron, potassium and magnesium, and are also an important source of protein and fiber. They are easy to grow, and, when dry, can be stored for long periods of time without losing viability if they are kept in a cool, dry, dark environment. Beside their nutritive benefits, the USDA Soil Quality Institute reports that beans have an ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen with the help of symbiotic rhizobia bacteria living in their roots. An inclusive term, beans, commonly refers to large-seeded plants that include peas, soybeans, peanuts, and vetches. Beans are generally a summer crop that needs warm weather to grow. Other than growing temperatures, beans and peas are very similar. Beans are sensitive to cold temperatures and frost and should be planted around the average last frost date in the spring. The exact date depends a lot upon the condition of the soil. It must have warmed to 60 degrees Fahrenheit and started to dry out. Seeds should be planted about 1 inch deep. Plant bush beans about 2 to 3 inches apart in rows 2 feet wide. Pole beans can be planted 4 to 6 inches apart in rows 3 feet wide. Alternatively, 4 to 6 seeds can be planted in hills centered about 30 inches apart. Plan to plant successive crops every 2 to 4 weeks for an extended harvest season. Inoculating the seed with rhizobium bacteria may increase yields if you have alkaline soils and use the correct bacteria for the legume type. The rhizobium bacteria have a symbiotic relationship with legumes. The bacteria invade the plant root hairs and multiply while the plant produces a protective nodule enclosure and energy for the bacteria. Payback in this mutually beneficial situation occurs when the bacteria convert nitrogen gas to ammonia in the nodules.
To check on the effectiveness and quantity of rhizobium bacteria in your soil, excavate some bean roots.
Upon slicing open a nodule, those that are actively fixing nitrogen will be pink to reddish rather than tan or green. Also, be sure to check the expiration date on the inoculant package before applying, as the living rhizobia have a finite shelf life. Contrary to popular wisdom, do not soak seeds. Beans tend to germinate poorly if they absorb too much water and crack. This also applies to planting seeds in overly wet soil conditions. Instead, water after planting or plant before a heavy rain. Beans do not like to be transplanted and are therefore best direct seeded into the garden. But if done carefully, they can be successfully started indoors in peat, newspaper or soil pots and transplanted into the garden. Gardeners with short growing seasons, cold and wet soil, rotting issues, or early insect pressure may want to start seeds indoors 3 weeks early to overcome these situations. The best sites have full sun, well-drained soil, average fertility, slightly acidic soil pH 6 to 6.8, and good air circulation. If bean diseases have been a problem in previous years, do not replant in the same location, since overwintered bacterial and fungus diseases can strike again. Watch that close cultivation or hoeing doesn't damage the shallow, brittle, weak bean roots. Fertilize sparingly and avoid using nitrogen to promote lush growth. Extend the harvest by succession, planting several sowings. Plants under heat or water stress are more prone to becoming stringy. Mulching after the plants are about 6 inches tall will help conserve soil moisture.
Hot, dry, stressful weather conditions can cause bean blossoms to fall and fail to produce pods.
Water regularly if no natural irrigation occurs. Beans need about 1 inch of moisture every week. To minimize disease problems, avoid wetting the foliage for prolonged periods. Water early in the day for the fastest drying time. The best time to pick the various snap beans is when they are still young and aren't tough and stringy. Since beans ripen at different times on the same bush, it is best to check them daily. Picking the beans frequently encourages more to form. Skipping a day may send some pods into the inedible category and slow down production, since the plant thinks it has accomplished its goal of producing seed. Most beans should snap nicely from the plant. Select beans that are firm pencil thickness,
tender and medium green.
Harvest only when bean plants are dry to avoid bacterial blight, a serious bean disease. Cut off the tougher stem and tip end, and they are ready for cooking. Store pods unwashed in a tight container in the refrigerator, then wash and use as soon as possible. After several days, beans may get wilty or tough. If they can't be used fresh within 3 or 4 days, the pods can be blanched and frozen, canned, or pickled.